welcome to Healthcare Hour with Colleen Qvist. Another week has gone by, can you believe it? And we're rapidly running out of year. Of course, what's also happening is that as we move towards the 11th of October, we're also getting closer to the VUCA Inspiration Conference, and it's all about youth this year. But more about my show, it's all about healthcare professionals. It's about us understanding that healthcare professionals are people. We need to know as well how to improve the communication between the healthcare professional and the patient, and the healthcare professional and the patient's family. And of course, it's for us as the public to be educated, to be informed, to know what's happening out there. Not only what's happening out there, but what's happening in our own bodies, what's happening in our own families, how we need to take action. So after the break, we're going to meet my guest today, and she's a fascinating lady who, despite her being in her sickbed, she got out of her sickbed for us today, and she's come to talk to us. But we'll meet her after the break.
How do you know the life of personal coach you're about to work with is who they say they are? How do you know if they can do the job? At the Africa Board for Coaching, Consulting and Coaching Psychology, we can tell you. So, before you share your secrets and spend your money, check with us first. Visit www.abccccp.com or call us on 012-751-7608. The ABCCP, the professional body for coaches.
Hi there, welcome to Healthcare Hour with Colleen Qvist. As you know, we're not only radio anymore, we're also now a visual element. You can find us on Spotify. You can also find us on VUCA Central, which is on YouTube. So look out for us, and you can see us all in all our beautiful heritage colors. So my guest today is Winnie Mamabolo. Welcome, Winnie.
Thank you, Colleen, for having me. Thank you so much.
We do appreciate you coming to be a guest, although you are not feeling well. And so we wish you speedy recovery.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. So, Winnie, I know that you are the Business and Skills Development Manager at LADGAC Rehab Center. And before we jump into that, let's first find out, who is Winnie?
Winnie Mamabolo is, I'm a 34-year-old from Seshego. It's a township on the outskirts of Polokwane in Limpopo. I am a business development manager at LADGAC Rehabilitation Center. But before I joined the rehabilitation center, I was a business development manager at a waste management company, but I've always been intrigued by business and new venture creation and strategizing and developing industries. So when I got into the rehabilitation space, I just fell in love, and it all just became about helping people more about the business development side of the industry.
Okay, so fascinating. All right, so you've said this rehab center. It's made up of different letters. So let's hear how you pronounce it and what they stand for.
And the name of the institution is LADGAC Rehabilitation Center, which stands for Limpopo Anti-Drugs, Anti-Gangsterism, and Anti-Crime.
Okay, so it's LADGAC.
Yes.
Okay. All right, rehab center in Limpopo.
Yes, it is.
All right. Okay, so 3 different things: anti-drugs, anti-alcohol, and also
Gangsterism and crime.
I turned to cough. Anti-drugs and anti-crime. Okay.
Yes.
Do you find that they all go together?
They do go together. A vast majority of the male patients that we have at the center are formerly incarcerated or awaiting trial. So they do go hand in hand.
Okay. All right. So now, how does a person come to be at the rehab center?
So we break traditional norms. Normally, with most rehabilitation centers, a person would actually admit themselves into a rehabilitation center. So we do things differently, where families will come to us and ask us to come and collect their families. So mostly it's families that will reach out. It's not the the addict.
Okay, so it's not like the person's opting in. Sometimes they could be like, "Zoop, come pick you up," and off you go. So it's an
Yes,
intervention from the family.
it's an intervention from the family. Yes.
Okay, all right. And then how long would you go there for?
So we've got different types of patients. So we've got those that are there for alcohol. Their program is 3 months, and then for substance abuse, which is hard drugs, your ketamine, your cocaine, marijuana, those are 6 months programs.
Okay, and this gangsterism?
With gangsterism, before they ventured into like a rehabilitation center, they were more about community patrols, community policing before they ventured into rehabilitation. But in the end, they realized that most suspects of crime were under the influence of substance. Hence, they ventured into a rehabilitation center to try and reduce the high surge of crime by
Yeah.
dealing with the core root.
Yes, so you're seeing hand in hand that the
Hand in
gangsterism
hand
is going in hand with the drugs and with the
with the
alcohol.
crime. Yes,
Yes, and the crime. So it's all linked. So in
it's all
order for
linked.
someone to get their next fix, they need to go out and get money to buy.
For an unemployed person, drugs are expensive because if a joint costs you or a hit costs you 50 rand and you're unemployed and you need more than 3 hits a day, so you end up finding creative ways to maintain your addiction, which
Mm,
leads to crime or prostitution.
yes. It's quite ironic in that those people would be really good in business development and finding new ways to bring money in.
Actually, I don't know if it's a conversation we can have now, but one of our programs that we do initiate through rehabilitation is skills development, and that's where
Yes.
you realize that these people are, beyond addicts. They have so much to offer to the economy, local and international economy. So
Yeah.
yes, they are creatives with
Okay,
potential.
so we'll come back to that. All
Yes,
right, so you said 3 months for alcohol and 6 months for substance abuse.
yes.
Okay, so a family has phoned you, said, come fetch Johnny. You've gone to fetch Johnny. Is Johnny a minor or is Johnny an adult?
So we accommodate 16-year-olds until 45.
16 to 45, okay?
16 to 45.
All right, so Johnny could be an older teenager, or he could be a young adult, or he could be an older adult. All
Yes.
right, you've gone to fetch Johnny. Johnny goes to live at LADGAC in Limpopo, the rehab center. And then is there visitation? Do they not see families again? Are there cell phones?
So the first 2 weeks, once we've admitted a patient, they're in some sort of isolation. So they don't make any phone calls, they don't get any visits, but they can send messages through the center to the family if they need of maybe cosmetics, because some of the patients are found on the streets, so they don't have anything on them. So, and then their first visit happens after a month of them being at the center.
Yeah, month of being at the center.
Yeah, and then
And
we've got family visits every first weekend of the month, so that's Saturday and Sunday. But families can arrange for visits during the month.
yeah, so quite controlled in terms of access, not
Yes,
just people wandering in and out.
yes.
Okay. And then we always see on TV though that when people come in from the outside, what impact do you find? Is that why you put them in isolation? So that they don't impact the people who are already there and have moved along their healing journey?
Because of the system that we use to admit most of our patients, you find that some are still resistant. and in
Yeah.
denial. You know, a patient will argue that I only smoke marijuana because the parents are not tested, and it's due to speculation based on their behavior. So we do get a little bit of resistance where patients will try and escape, and so hence the isolation from families, from the other rehabilitants. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you say, it is different because the person hasn't opted in. Okay, now we've hit rock bottom. Now let's go get help.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you find then that you've ever taken people off the street or, captured them and then discovered that it's been incorrect?
Elaborate because I
Okay.
understand.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, for instance, if the family reports Johnny and you go fetch Johnny and then you discover, okay, Johnny isn't actually on drugs or on alcohol.
We do get such instances. The thing is that some families, the sad reality with substance abuse is that some of the triggers or the core roots of how substance abuse came into a person's life is due to toxic families. So
Yes.
some families, let me not say parents, some families will bring an individual to the rehabilitation because they want access to their money. So some admissions are very sinister and toxic, but we've got like social workers and psychologists that actually deal with it and can actually release a patient with once they realize that no, this is deeper than substance abuse. There's no trace of substance abuse.
Yes.
This is just families just playing dark games.
Yeah, so it's families making up facts which
Yes,
aren't facts to be
yes,
able to remove the person from society
exactly. Yes,
and get them out of the way.
yeah. So they can
Yeah.
do whatever that they want to do.
Mm. Okay, so it's good to hear that you are actually taking both sides of the story, or I suppose there are numerous sides of the story. It's
Yeah,
not just, no, you've been reported and that's it.
yes.
Okay. All right, so let's go for a break. When we come back, we're going to hear more about what happens at LADGAC.
The home of inspiration every day.
Most people give up on themselves easily. You know the human spirit is powerful.
From news,
Countries across the globe have been hit by the COVID-19 virus.
views,
There's a global trend to see an increase in GBV incidences, specifically domestic violence.
sports,
What do you say? It's a really good ball. It's Shabalala.
and music to inspire you every day. This is Vuga Online, your inspiration radio station.
Welcome back. You are listening to Healthcare Hour with Colleen Qvist. You may also be watching us on any kind of YouTube or Spotify. And so let's wave at you wherever and whichever country you're watching us from. My guest today is Winnie Mamabolo. She is the Business and Skills Development Manager for LADGAC Rehab Center in Limpopo. Now, my LADGAC doesn't sound like your LADGAC, Winnie, when you say it.
Lat gag, potato,
LADGAC.
potato.
Okay. Yeah, I think I say more GAC and you say more okay, whatever. It sounds different. Okay, so what we've been hearing is that it's the Limpopo anti-drugs, your gangsterism and your crime, and also your anti-substance abuse. Yes. Okay. All right. We've also found out that as a rehab center, you're different because the family can bring the person or can say, hey, come fetch Johnny. And you're then finding as well that sometimes families, one of the big reasons for alcohol, drugs, crime, all those kind of things are toxic families. So you aren't immune to the involvement of toxicity in families. And you're also checking out as to whether this is sinister and dark and they're just trying to get Johnny removed from society.
True.
Okay, so for alcohol, you're looking at a 3-month program, and for substance abuse, a 6-month program. And that when the person comes in, they spend 2 weeks in isolation, and then a month later, they're allowed to have family visitation, which is on the first weekend of the month.
Yes, true.
Okay. All right. And so, like, now we talk about what happens during those 3 months or 6 months. What are they busy with?
Okay, so like I did mention, the first 2 weeks are isolation because now we need to monitor the behavior. And then after those 2 weeks, we've got 3 skills development programs at the rehabilitation center. So we've got performing arts, we've got a welding artisan program, and we also got a chemical operations program where patients have an option to join 1 or 2 or all programs.
I didn't hear what the third one was.
The third one is chemical operations. So it's manufacturing of cosmetics and detergents.
Okay, and hopefully no drugs on the side.
No.
You make sure you don't have any of those ingredients.
No, we've got alcohol as an ingredient for the perfumes, but it's highly monitored.
Okay. Now I could just see the business opportunity there, you see. So yeah. So as you said as well, you know, you're looking at when somebody is homeless or they don't have any source of income and they need to have like 150 Rand to be able to get their next hit of drug. They become very creative in how they find ways of finding that money.
Yes.
And you know, then it's the next day, the next day, the next day. And so they are making sure that they get what they need.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you've said as well that these skills programs are then obviously well received eventually because you've got people with skills.
They are well received because, you know, the harsh reality of the rehabilitation center is it's either you're going to sleep your life away because they might have been forced to come to the institution, but nobody's going to wake you up every morning and take you to class and tell you to bath because it's a two-way road. Like we meet each other halfway. So eventually they'll be resistant because some would like to spite their families, in terms of, okay, my mother didn't want to, I've been asking her to get a license for me, but now she's willing to spend this much. Yeah. So you know what, when I leave the space, I'm going to smoke. But you know, the first month will go by and the second month, and you realize, you know what, let me just do something productive of my life because you've got one-on-one sessions with your therapist. You've got peer-to-peer sessions. You know, you get to speak to people that enlighten you and actually, you know, motivate you to actually try and grasp the second chance that you've been given. So yeah, they do actually receive the programs very well. We've got a very high attendance rate. The unfortunate side is that we do have patients that their parents mistaken what they have as an addiction or a substance-induced psychosis, but actually these are people with real dire mental health issues. So we do get intakes where parents will expect us to admit a mental health patient. So those are the few that will not be joining the programs. But we do book because we don't have an in-house psychiatrist. So we'll book an appointment with an external psychiatrist that can actually, you know, convince their families that these people do not belong in such an institution. But the attendance rate for the skills development programs are really good.
And so clearly, although you don't have an in-house psychiatrist, you must have professionals who are experts in rehab.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
From a drugs point of view, from an alcohol point of view.
Yeah. Because Colleen, like you did mention at the beginning of the show that rehabilitation centers are quite expensive, quite pricey. So at the rate that we are, we can't afford specialists. Hence, we you know, we use external professionals that assist us.
Okay. All right. And then so they're not in-house, they're external. So they're on call.
Yes,
okay, we need you. Come running.
Yes. So we'll identify a few patients that, okay, now this one needs intervention. Or this is beyond our control.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So then we see, okay, so from a location point of view, being in Limpopo, does Limpopo have an issue with addiction more than other provinces?
Yes, it does. But the thing is, we don't even house, not even 10% of our patients are from the province. So most of our patients are from all over the country. So Limpopo, it's just it's just a few.
Yeah. So our
Yeah.
Johnny may not be from Limpopo. He could be from
No,
any other province.
you
And
can be
often
from the
90%
Western
of the
Cape.
time, Johnny does come from another province.
Yes, Western Cape, Gauteng, yeah,
Yes.
all 9
Wonderful. Okay.
provinces.
Yes. Okay. And so how are you funded? Are you government funded? Are you a government organization?
No, for now we are funded through patients' fees. So families pay a monthly fee to the institution. We are not funded by government,
Okay. All right. And
unfortunately.
then what you're saying is now is because you're an affordable rehab, you're obviously looking at fees and trying to minimize fees as opposed to say, oh, here's a situation that's in crisis, so let's milk it for everything that it's worth.
No. Yes, so we are very minimal based. So our fees are very, very, very minimal. And we've gained this popularity because of the fees and the duration.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then while the person is there, they're obviously getting full board and lodging.
Yes, they do. So they are accommodated, breakfast, lunch, and supper.
Laundry.
No laundry, they do their own laundry because now
Oh,
we're trying to discipline them. Now we're teaching them because, some of these people did not care about their personal hygiene.
yes.
So it's actually part of the programs, like personal hygiene.
Yeah. Because you're
Yeah.
finding in any kind of substance abuse but also from mental health, that you find that hygiene is one of the factors that slips faster.
Exactly, because the only thing on their mind is their next
Yes. The 150 Rand to get my
yeah,
next 3
the
whatevers.
next fix,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Not where's the soap.
No,
No,
nothing
soap
on their
doesn't
mind.
feature.
They'll sell that soap for a
Yes.
fix.
Yeah. And toothpaste doesn't fit in anyway. Okay. All
No.
right. So, I mean, that makes sense. All right. So are you able to share what your fees are?
So for us to collect a patient, so I'll start with the transport logistics. So we charge 950 per kilometer to go and collect a patient, but it's a return fee. And then registration is 6,950. So that gets you a bed, mattress, and it gets you a kit for your luggage or your belongings. And then monthly it's 3,500. So the monthly fee covers accommodation, covers breakfast, lunch, and supper.
And no laundry. Yes.
No,
Okay.
no laundry. They do their own laundry.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm just seeing how it all works. All right. So you can see, yes, is affordable. It's not like moving into a hotel and paying 20,000 Rand a month.
So at that fee, then you understand that it's not going
Yes.
to be, yeah.
It's not luxury.
Yeah, but it's not hell.
Yes. And it's healthy discipline. It's not punishment discipline.
No, it's not punishment discipline, it's just teaching you responsibility.
Okay. All right. So we see that. Okay. How many people do you house at any one time?
So now we've got 160 patients, 48 female, and we've got, how many houses do we have? Okay, so it's 9, 10, 11. So we've got 11 houses.
11. Okay.
Yeah.
And what kind of housing is it?
So it's a
See,
chalet.
you've got to paint the picture so that we can see.
Okay, so it's a chalet, but people can
Yes.
visit our social media pages on TikTok and other social media pages. So we've got chalets. So where we just bought a lodge. So it used to be a lodge. It used to be called Touch of Eden. So it's chalets.
Okay. All right. So now we get the picture. Okay. And then out of your 160, how many of them would you say are the 16, 17, 18-year-olds?
Not that much. I think out of 160, we might have less than 20 or less than 15. It's not a lot. Not a lot because we don't actually condone school age going patients to come to the center. But most of the patients that do come and are still school going, we do arrange with the schools where they send them their assignments and their schoolwork and but it's not a lot. I think
Okay.
now we've got like 7, but some
All
are high
right.
school dropouts. I think there's only 2 that actually go to school.
Yes. And then are they housed separately?
Yes, the younger ones are housed separately to avoid influence from the older patients.
Yes. And also abuse situations and
Yeah, and the fact that they use these small kids because they're still innocent in our eyes. Although they're at the rehabilitation center, we still give them that benefit of the doubt. So they do use them to do their sinister and mischievous things. So we do house them separately for their own protection. Yes.
okay. All right, so let's go for another break. You see, this is how quickly the time disappears on the show. But let's go for a break and then we'll find more.
The Africa Center for Work-Based Learning is a professional development center for professionals who aim to improve their professional standing. This means that the learning programs we run are more than just academic programs. They are work-based programs that focus on leveraging your current experience as a professional to build your overall profile. A year down the line, the Africa Center for Work-Based Learning is developing into a preferred center for professional development in Pretoria, with 8 professional development faculties including accounting, teaching, entrepreneurship, as well as IT and many more. For more information, go to acwbl.org or dial +27 12 751 7608. The Africa Center for Work-Based Learning, where work is learning.
Welcome back. You are listening to Healthcare Hour with Colleen Qvist. No matter where you're joining us from around the world, hello, welcome. My guest today is Winnie Mamabolo, and she is been talking to us about rehabilitation as relates to alcohol, drugs, crime, gangsterism, okay? And we've just been seeing how all of those fit together. And Winnie, who is the Business and Skills Development Manager of a rehab center in Limpopo, which is called LADGAC. And we've just been talking about how the whole system is different in that they can go fetch a person. They're also understanding that families can be toxic. They can be trying to remove the person from society, but they look at all of that. And in the beginning, the person may be resistant to, I don't want to be here. I'm going to escape. I'm going to run away. But as the months go by, 3 months for alcohol and 6 months for substance abuse, that they start to get into the whole programs. There are 3 skills development programs: performing arts, welding, and chemical operations, which I'm assured is not making drugs. Okay, so I heard you say perfume, and I assume like maybe soaps and things like that.
Yes.
Makeup.
So I'm just gonna show you. So
Okay.
yes. So this is a product that was manufactured by our patients. It's a perfume. We call it LDG scents, so which stands for LADGAC scents.
Okay.
So yeah, so they do manufacture, and it's currently we are still in the process of developing the product for the market. So yeah,
Okay.
hopefully
All
soon
right.
it will be on the shelves.
Yes. And then performing arts, what's involved there?
So it's theater, it's dance, and music. So it's rehabilitation through arts, telling stories through arts. Earlier this year, we had a show, and the name of the show was From the Streets to the Stage, where we were trying to deflect away from the stereotype of addicts telling stories about addiction, but trying to show a perception that, you know what, I am not my past, I am not the substance that I consumed. This is the talent that I can offer to the world.
Yes. So
Yeah.
very good. I'm not my addiction.
I'm not my addiction.
Yes. And that my addiction won't define me. I'm more than that.
Yes, this is
Yes.
not going to be my story. Addiction is
No.
not going to be my story. Yes, there's
Yes.
more that I can offer.
So changing the narrative, because I was an addict, therefore blah blah blah. It's now
Yeah,
a
and
case
if I
of
can't
no.
always be talking about addiction, and yes,
Yes.
we need to give awareness, but we need to give people hope that I am not the face of addiction. I am the face of recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm hearing you stepping your people out of the victim mentality of, you know, things happen to me, life happens to me, and you know, I'm an addict, therefore blah blah blah. Okay. As opposed to saying, no, I can embrace my future.
Exactly, because you know, with the victim mentality, you get stuck in it, and it's your story, so you don't even move out of it, because all you need is pity, pity, pity. So you will mess up, and then no, but when I was young, this and that happened. But you know, everyone has been through the most. We've all been through the most. We've found coping mechanisms besides substance, and we are not judging, but you know, embrace the new you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so being a victim doesn't empower, but what you also find is that people identify with the victim narrative, and they become their narrative.
Yeah, and then you
Okay.
don't grow from that.
Yeah. So it's about saying, yes, given that I have a toxic family, or I had a toxic family, or given that something happened to me, or given the situation where I've grown up, or given that blah, blah, whatever. Okay. It's more a case of, how do I embrace my future?
Exactly, because
How do I look at the options and say, right, no, off I go. It doesn't matter where I came from. Where am I going?
I always tell them that, you know, we don't give you a second chance, we don't give you a third chance, we give you fourth, fifth. We'll always give you chances. We'll always give you chances. So you should never give up, because there's always someone that's always offering you a lifeline. So shy away from the victim mentality and actually utilize and embrace your potential. Because through the skills development programs, you realize how brilliant these people are. Because the thing is, another stereotype is that people think that addicts are just people on the streets that have no hope or no desires or no future. But majority of our intake are professionals. We've got advocates, we've got PhD doctors, we've got medical doctors, we've got accountants. So it's more about, you know, embracing what has always been hidden by substance. Now we remove the substance. Now it's time for you to shine and actually become the face of recovery and not substance.
Yes. And I think, you know, you mentioned like not judging. I think it's easy for everybody who doesn't understand to judge, to say, oh, but how did you end up here? How does the doctor end up using their own drugs and end up being addicted to whatever, their own prescription drugs that they're using? Okay. And it's easy. It's a choice.
Yeah, it is a choice.
But it is easy. And also what happens once you've done it once, you've done it twice, you've done it 3 times, it's the way you do it. And the more you don't you get away with it. And I think also people don't understand that drugs can also be functional. You can be a functional alcoholic and you can be a functional addict.
Yes.
You don't, as you said, you're not like lying in the gutter on the street.
Yeah, that's true. But it ends up catching up to you, because it's a tolerance.
Yes.
You know, first time the high is nice, and then your body now depends on it, and you become more miserable. But you're functioning, but you're miserable. So when you get home, you're breaking down, you're intoxicating yourself, and then tomorrow you go to work, you come back, it becomes a dark cycle. But now the issue is also that that we have with recovery or reintegration into society, that once the rehabilitant leaves the center and goes out to society as a recovering addict, now society will look down on them again. And I'll go back to families again. I'll go back to my family, and my mother will remind me how much of an addict I was, how much she spent this money trying to, you know, and then it takes me back to the streets, it takes me back to my old habits. So I think another issue is society and families. And I've come to realize that with us, Black Africans, we don't have that level of communication where parents can allow their children to actually express their emotions and talk about, in Black society, they don't believe that depression is a word. It's just a word.
No, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, and you're spoiled, and so I think it's conversations that we're supposed to have at the rehabilitation center. We try and have joint sessions with families so that mother and child can speak through a mediator without the backlash and the screaming and the insults and the blaming so I think we need to actually go easy on addicts. I know they're very manipulative, but sometimes just try and see where they're coming from and actually sit in through these sessions to understand where it all went wrong.
Yes. So on that positive note, also seeing that you are providing support and education and information for loved ones, and also understanding as well that sometimes we don't know, we've often been raised a certain way and we just propagate that. We raise our children the same way. And it's also about seeing, okay, what's serving people, what isn't serving, because you can't do differently until you've been taught differently.
Yes, true.
Okay. And what I loved what you've said, Winnie, is it's so important as well that we don't hide things, that we bring things out into the open, that we speak about them, and we remove that whole discrimination kind of story, and we remove that there's something that we should be ashamed of it.
Yeah, because the sad reality with substance abuse now, I don't know about in the past years, like 40 years ago, because I was not born then, but I think substance abuse now has become a pandemic in the sense that it could be my son, or it could be my sister, or it could be the next person. Like, I think we are at a point where now every person knows someone that is very close to them who is affected by this. I'm going to call it a pandemic because that's what it is. It's a pandemic. Yes. And we don't have a solution to it because it keeps on going every single day. So it's something that we shouldn't shy away from. We shouldn't shy away from speaking about it because I could also be going through the same thing. So if you're not opening up to me, how am I going to help you? Because I might have a solution on how I help my son. And now you are shying away because you think it's going to reflect back on your parenting skills. And it's not even that. Sometimes it's not even about the type of family I come from. It could just be a sense of lack of self-love, not knowing yourself and just trying to fit in with the wrong crowd, so sometimes it's not about family, but we need to talk about these things. We need to, so that we can educate everyone so people can understand how out of control it's getting.
Yes. Okay, so Winnie, thank you very much for your important message to understand as well that addiction crosses all boundaries. There are no boundaries. And you will find it in all race groups, in all language groups, in all ages, and obviously genders. And so we need to not think, oh, not me. That would never happen to me or anyone I love or any of my family. Oh no, for those people over there. We need to get rid of that idea in that none of us are immune.
None.
Yeah.
None.
Okay, so thank you very much for your positive message, and we are pleased to see that there's hope, that there's ways of doing these things. And so all the best also for the conference.
Thank you so much for having me, and I can't wait to be at the conference. Thank you so much, Colleen.
Okay. All right, so you've been listening to Healthcare Hour with Colleen Qvist. Please remember that you are loved, you matter, and you're not alone. And we'll see you all next time. Okay, bye.